It's Sunday, and at the end of last week's video, you saw that we were having problems with Player 2 score wheels. Specifically, the 10K score wheel wasn't moving at all, and the whole score wheel wasn't resetting correctly. Well, as I left there driving home, it occurred to me that I have a solenoid test program, a routine, in my code already, and all I had to do was flip a switch, and it would step through every solenoid on the whole pinball machine and tested each solenoid individually. So first thing I did next morning is run back and flip that test on to see what it did, and here's the results of that. As you can see, the relays all work perfectly. So obviously I have a code problem, or had a code problem, because I went and looked and I figured out that I had just made another stupid coding mistake. And in my table, where I should have had the hexadecimal digits 1, 4, 8, or 10, I had 1, 2, 3, 4. That wouldn't work. So I put the correct numbers in there, and now the lookup table works perfectly. And here's a cherry-picked little bit of video of the score wheels all resetting correctly. Now, the reason I called it cherry-picked is because occasionally some of the wheels do not reset to the correct position. I haven't figured out what that is yet. And sometimes when I'm activating relays in another wheel will activate and not deactivate. So I'm not sure what's causing that, but I'm going to have to track that down. But those are minor bugs. So tomorrow when we're down at the shed, our plan is to primarily work on wiring. We're going to finish wiring up all the rest of the switches and start playing around with the code to get the playfield playing like a pinball machine. And if we have time, we might try mapping out the LEDs so that we can start turning the lights on also. So that's it. We'll see you in a minute down at the shed. Well, hello. It's Monday. So you saw in the little intro there the work that we had done during the week. And I'm going to start first thing today with wiring up the rest of these wires right here. There are 4 switch input connectors. We have 2 of them completely wired up. The one that goes to the score wheels up there, and part of the playfield here, and the other 2 connectors are playfield connectors. Well, playfield, back box, and main box connectors. And because of that, I've made up these connectors ahead of time. So this 18-pin connector goes into that board, and it breaks out to 8 pins that go to the playfield and 8 pins that go to the main body. And then the other connector has other pins that go to the playfield and a couple of pins that go to the 0 and max credit on the score wheel here. So the extra connectors are just there so that we can take this unit apart into the individual parts. The back box, the main box, and the playfield all have individual connectors on it that let you unplug them and take them apart. So what I'm going to be doing today is sorting out the rest of these loose ends of wires, getting them terminated and plugged into the connector. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to stop until we have all of those done. It's about 2 o'clock. Mike's not going to get here till about 5, so I've got about 3 hours solo to work, and I'm going to spend most of that time probably connecting these connectors. So I'm going to move you guys back a little bit, get you on a hyperplay, and just speed through this because it's pretty boring even if you're here doing it. and I can't imagine sitting back there and watching it. So that's it. We'll get to it. Okay, I have 8 wires connected. Sorry for that. I have 8 wires connected up to this connector that come from the playfield. They're some of the primary connections: the 3 pop bumpers, the 2 slingshots, slam tilt, and the couple of targets. Anyway, when we labeled these labels, we labeled them left pop bumper, right pop bumper, middle pop bumper, and on my paper I labeled them pop bumper 1, 2, and 3. So I took a guess at which one was 1 and which one was 2 and which one was 3, and I got 1 out of 3 right. But I decided that it'll be easier to fix this in code than it will be to fix it by taking that connector back apart and moving the wires around, mostly because I don't have anything small enough to get in there and bend those pins down. So I'm going to pop into my code real quick, straighten those out, and then I'm going to bring you back and show you these things working on the playfield. Okay, I'm going to start this game up. I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen. Because we don't have the wires hooked up down here to allow us to add credits or add players, I've set up the game so it automatically adds 4 credits, and then it'll sit and wait for a while, and then it will add 2 players. I've added some chiming so you can hear when these things happen. Anyway, once the 2 players add, the score wheels will reset to 0. Sometimes it doesn't get quite all the way back to 0, but pretty close. And then it allows me to start playing player number 1. Now, one thing that happens right off the bat is as soon as I score anything, the wheel on player number 2 draws in and doesn't release. That's a software bug. I haven't found it yet. I will. But just because of that, I end game 1 right away and go to game 2 so that I can get that solenoid to release. So I'm going to power this on. And then a little bit after it resets, you'll hear it chime 4 times. It's got something to do with the camera. I know it does. It just seems like every time I do this, it doesn't work right. Let me go hit the reset on the back of the box. Oh, I still have my laptop plugged in. That's not good. Okay, there were the 4 chimes adding credits. Now I wait about 20 seconds just cause. Actually, I wait the 20 seconds because I have an option to be doing randomizing the code wheel here, and I want that to be done with before it adds the players. Okay. There it added 2 players, and it reset the scores back to 0, and the thing is getting ready to play. Now, as soon as I score something, I don't know if you can hear that, but that wheel is buzzing because it is activated. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to hit the out button, and that's going to end that score and start the second player playing. And now when I Score is score. The second player is getting a score. And now that stuck solenoid has stopped. So anyway, what I was here to show you was the things that I just wired up, which is this pop bumper, that pop bumper, that pop bumper, that slingshot, that target, and that target. So those are all working quite well, and you can see the power of these things. They look like real. I don't have flippers yet, so I can't do that. But as you can see, that works pretty good. The kicker kicks the ball out. Oh, it's adding my bonus. And the kicker kicked the ball out. So it's getting close to playing. It's just a few more wires to hook up, so I'm going to go back to that. I don't think I'm going to film me terminating the rest of these wires. If you really want to see that, just rewind this back a few minutes and watch that first part over again. Well, we have all the switch wires hooked up except for the two, the 0 and the max score on the credit wheel. I mean max credit on the credit wheel. But everything else has been hooked up. There's a lot of bugs in here, but basically the table is almost playable. We don't have a launching facility yet, and this is just setting in here loosely. But Mike and the credit button doesn't credit.
It doesn't.
It's not hooked up. The credit button is not hooked up on this end.
Oh, on this end.
It's wired up over there. But two credits are on there, okay. So you're gonna have to throw a ball in there because it's.
I did.
You did. Where is it?
It's in here.
Interesting.
Oh, so it's all ready to go.
Yeah. So it hasn't. So maybe I don't have a eject on the beginning. It should. Okay. It should have.
That didn't score at all.
And the switch might be loose back there too, you know.
This is definitely not.
So, hold on.
It's not making.
It's possible that
it went past. That's why. Apparently we're missing a piece of metal down here.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we are definitely missing some rails and whatnot.
Just go ahead and leave that off.
I only had one credit,
right?
Or one bonus.
So now it's on player 2. So there's some runaway scoring thing going on. That doesn't reset. I need to figure out why that doesn't do it. But it's starting to look like a game. Whoa, and that's enough. So what we're going to do now is instead of
long a pause.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, the pause is in the countdown, the bonus thing.
Right.
But there was no bonus to count down. Yeah, that'll all get ironed out over time. So we have. So there it's finally counting down the bonus.
Doing this.
So anyway, yeah, we have lots of things to work on, but before I quit for the evening, I want to try and map out these LEDs. I need to hook up power and signal to those real quick, so I'm going to do that right now. So we're running our little light tester. I hit plus and it tells me that I'm on LED 5. And out here on the table, LED 5 is lighting up right under the girl's blonde hair.
This one, it's not a new one that we put in, so okay. It's kind of an odd place, but I'll say, wow. It's going to be the right shooter lane plastic girl.
Okay. 6.
So that's right upper right.
Upper right rollover. 7.
That's
Upper right
A
rollover,
and B.
number 2. Yeah.
okay.
We have 2 LEDs on each rollover, so 8.
You wanted 1 and 2 or A and B?
It
Okay.
doesn't make any difference.
1, 2.
So we're going to continue on doing this for the all 100 or so LEDs that are on this table, and that's going to end it for today. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I'll go do a bunch of code work, and I might post a midweek thing showing you how that's going along. So again, thanks for watching.